Aha, we are unmuted now. Hello, people. Welcome to day 5 of my pop up live series. We've been doing this back to back for 5 days now, and I am excited to be in your face again on day 5. Tell me where you're joining me from on in the comments. Let me know where are you joining this live session from in the comment section. Let me know where are you joining in from. What platform? What platform are you joining in from? Thanks for tuning in. I can see we already have a lot of people joining. Thanks for coming. This is day 5. Yes. This is day 5. Thank you for coming. I know many people have been on standby waiting for me to pop up as a live. Okay, let me know in the comments. Okay, I have someone from Facebook. Where are you joining from? Let me know in the comments. We had so many people join yesterday's live from all over the internet. We had people from YouTube, people from Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But let me know where you're joining this live from. Let me know the location as well, so I can give you like a, you can say thumbs up or something like that. So, anyways, you guys are welcome to day 5, and we're still on this amazing series that I started yesterday. So I said this was going to run for 5 days, and today is day 2 of the 5-day series captioned 5 Pillars of a 7-Figure Online Business. 7-figure online business. We have peace from Port Harcourt. Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you for joining. Okay, so first things first, you guys will need to hit the share button so your friends can join the conversation. Just share so we can get as many people in here. The conversation is going to go crazy very fast. Trust me, like today I'm not going to slow down for no one. So go ahead and hit the share button so your friends can join the conversation. Add a nice caption. If you're sharing on LinkedIn, you can add a nice caption. If you're sharing on Facebook, you can also tag someone. But just make sure you get your friends to join because, well, I am recording, but I'm not going to release the recording after this session. So let's all go ahead and share. I can see Sue Beckling from Cameroon, Uche from YouTube, and who else again? Bukola from LinkedIn. Welcome. Thank you for joining. All right. So without wasting time, let's jump right into it. Yesterday, we started this 5-day series, and I talked in depth about some of the things you need to know when it comes to mindset. I said mindset is the foundation for everything that is going to be the results you see in your business. And today is day 2, and I'm just going to go straight into the second pillar. But before I do, there's one aspect of day 1 that we didn't cover yesterday, and that is the external factors. Yesterday, we were talking more about internal factors. We talked about why you need to adopt the right mindset in your business and how the right mindset in your business can help you to get better results, and how that can position you for dominance. So we really went in depth on some of those very important things as it concerns your mindset. But however, those are internal factors. Those were the internal factors. And I just quickly want to touch on the external things that you want to address if you know you will see results consistently in your business. We want to touch a little bit on those external things. Now, what do I mean by external things? I'm talking about your environment, right? Your physical environment and your relationship environment. You will agree with me that the people who have the greatest impact on the decisions that you make are your friends and your family, the people in your circle. Am I right? Type circle if you believe it's the same thing. So you find out the people who have the greatest impact on your decisions, the people who have the greatest impact on, like how life turns out for you, is usually the people in your circle. And you will find out that the people who you have in your circle, this is something that hit me when I was with my friend in, went to Warri for a retreat. There was a time when myself and one of my friends went to Warri for a retreat. It was really an amazing time, but something hit me while we were on that retreat, and my mind has never been the same ever since then. And it was the fact that I realized during that retreat that every single person we have in our circle falls into one of 2 categories. They are either an anchor or they are a propeller. Don't you think so too? Every single person in your circle, they are either an anchor or they are a propeller. What do I mean by that? I simply mean that, when a ship docks at the harbor, you know what a harbor is, right? When a ship parks at the harbor or docks at the harbor, they let down the anchor so that the ship doesn't sail forward in any direction, so that the wind doesn't blow it away, or so that the ship doesn't on its own sail away from the docks. And in the same way, when the ship is ready to leave the harbor, what happens? They engage the propellers and the ship begins to move forward in any direction. During that trip to Warri, I found out that the people we have in our circle, they fall into one of these two categories. They are either anchors or they are propellers. And I'm telling you, if you take a very close look at every single person in your circle, you'll find out that they are either propellers or they are anchors. They push you forward in one way or the other, or they hold you down in one way or the other. Now, I also went further to observe inside of my circle, and I found out that there were different kinds of anchors in my circle. As a matter of fact, I had so many friends at the time, because I used to take solos in church, and so I had so many people who were in my circle, who were my friends, and so I found out that I had so many anchors in my circle. I had so many anchors in my circle. I'll give you a couple of those categories so that you can examine your own circle and see if you have them in yours as well. For example, one of the types of anchors that I had in my circle then were what I call time anchors. Time anchors. These are people who they call you and you don't know how 1 hour of your time disappears. They call you and you don't know how 5 hours of your time disappears. By the way, if you just joined the live session, thank you for joining in. Let's all go ahead and share so that your friends can join the conversation. I'm not going to release the live recording, so if you want your friends to be here right now, you definitely want to go ahead and share, regardless of the platform that you are on, all right? So back to what I was saying. Time anchors. They are people who have the biggest negative impact on how your time is spent. A time anchor calls you up and you don't even know how 5 hours of your time disappears, and you can't point out one productive thing that you did with that time. That's how you know that you have time anchors in your circle. There are people who naturally just are intrusive. They don't know, they have no boundaries whatsoever. They respect no boundaries. And so they just pick up the phone and call you up anytime. And before you know, your 1 hour is gone, your 2 hours is gone. I used to have this time anchor in my circle then that whenever he shows up, I could be in the middle of work. I could be doing something very serious with my life. I could be working. I could be helping my clients solve their problems. But whenever this guy shows up, I don't know how 2 hours of my time will disappear. I don't know how 4 hours of my time will disappear. And then before you know it, the day is over. And so I was busy, but I wasn't productive. Many of us have people like that in our circle who, once they show up around, once they call, you have no idea how the hours will just vanish and disappear into thin air. And you can't place your finger on one productive thing that you did with that time. They're time anchors. Time anchors are the ones who have the greatest negative impact on our productivity. When you find out that you are trying all you can to do what is needed to be done and it's not getting done on time, it's very possible that you have a couple of time anchors in your circle. And by the way, time anchors are not only human beings. Sometimes time anchors are our bad habits, our distractions, right? Our distractions. So I realized that I had a lot of time anchors in my circle, and guess what I did? I started to distance myself from them. In fact, the number one solution to any form of time anchors you have in your circle is become less accessible. The only way you can become fully productive, to maximize your productivity potential, is by becoming less accessible to people who are not propelling you towards your goals, who are not propelling you to where you need to be. By becoming less accessible. There was something I said a couple of years back, and it still resonates till today. If people don't tell you thanks for your time from time to time, you are too accessible. Quote me anywhere. It's the truth. If people do not tell you thanks for your time from time to time, then you are too accessible. So that's the simple solution. If you want to have less time anchors in your circle, you simply become less accessible. And how I became less accessible, I stopped picking up his calls. I stopped picking up their calls. If you are not propelling me towards my goals, you have no business having my time. I have no business spending time with you, because at that point, I am not being productive. I'm slowing down myself because of what? Exactly. So I decided to become less accessible to such people, and my productivity went through the roof. As a result, when they would call me, by the way, sometimes it's call that they will call. When they call me now, I no longer pick the calls. And even if I have to pick the call, even if I have to see them physically, normally what they usually do is they will ask you, what are you up to? What are you doing? What are you working on? And all of that. They want to know what's up with you, right? Most of the time, just want to know what's up with you, not because they want to help, just because they want to know, so that they know your gists. And what I would always tell them is, I'm just doing one thing, If they call on phone, I say, I just did one side. They say, what you doing? I just did one side. What are you doing? Just do one or two. You don't give out too much information to someone who is a time anchor. Why? Because they have no use for that information. In the first place, they have no use for that information because they can't move you from where you are to where you want to be. So why divulge such information to them? So I had to stop being accessible to such people, and I prioritized my own time spent on the things that moved my business forward in the direction that I wanted it. And then I also realized that there were other categories of anchors in my circle apart from time anchors. There were also people that I like. Well, I call these ones career anchors because, okay, you can call them career or idea anchors because they have the most negative impact on your ideas and your career. I want you to think about this. There is one person in your circle, could be a friend, most likely a family member. Trust me, most likely a family member. Whenever you get an idea, you are so excited, you rush to them and you tell them about that idea. And the moment you tell them the idea, they are the first person to tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work. They are in a rush to tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work. To tell you, don't try this thing, it's a scam, don't try this thing, you will lose your money, don't try this thing, have you seen anybody that's tried it before? And all of that. They discourage you, they kill. See, these guys I'm talking about, they are the reasons why your ideas die as ideas. I personally cannot count the number of ideas that I have had that died as ideas because of time, because of idea anchors, because of career anchors. There was a time when I wanted to do a fish pond. By the way, let me give you guys one gist. There was a time when I wanted to do a fish pond. And you know what happened? I don't want to say the person I told, but I told someone. She's a family member. No need to bring it out here, but I told a family member, and she was in a rush to tell me all the reasons why it wasn't going to work. Now, the dangerous thing, the most dangerous thing about telling these people your ideas is, it's not that they discourage you because they don't like you. Of course, they love you. They're your family, right? But it is out of the concern that they discourage you. The dangerous thing is that you already hold their opinion in high esteem. And because you hold their opinion in high esteem, you will take it hook, line, and sinker. You are going to go and meet somebody who has only an opinion to give advice. You're going to go and meet someone who only has an opinion to give, and you are asking the person for advice. The person will give you his opinion, the person will give you his sentiments, and you will take it as hook, line, and sinker. When you could have been approaching people who have experience on the subject. Which one seems like a better route for you? Experience or opinion? Type in the comments. Which one do you choose? Experience or opinion? You are carrying all your ripe ideas. You found a gap in your marketplace. You found a need in your marketplace, and you were able to think up a solution. Remember what I said yesterday, the highest realm of implementation is imagination. Remember what I said yesterday. And I said that if you have the ability to come up with ideas, God has blessed me with that grace. I come up with more ideas than I can execute. I don't know how I do it. If you have that same grace upon your own life and you come up with ideas and you are in a hurry to go and tell somebody who only has an opinion to give, you're putting yourself in soup because you hold that person's opinion in high esteem, and once the person gives you the opinion, you swallow it as a full hook, line, and sinker pill, and you immediately lose all the drive to work on that idea. And that is how that idea dies as an idea. Prioritize going to people with experience, not opinions. Imagine if when I wanted to start investing in cryptocurrency, for example, just imagine if when I wanted to start investing in cryptocurrency, I went to go and meet my mother for it. My mother that cannot even tell you what a token is. My mother cannot even tell you what Binance. If you ask her what Binance, she might not even know what Binance is. Never meet people with opinions. Always go for people with experience. Always go for people with experience. But you are only doing it to get advice. It's not necessarily so that they will give you advice and then you take it hook, line, and sinker and go, right? My brother Emmanuel, don't take this one as advice. Just take it as my experience, right? Don't take it as me giving you advice. Take it as me telling you my experience. In my own experience, even our parents, they don't want us to make mistakes. So when you carry something to them that they don't have experience on, they feel obligated to help. They feel obligated to guide. And so they will give you their opinion. And if it's a negative opinion, because you take it hook, line, and sinker, that's the end of it. Many of our ideas have died as ideas simply because you went to meet someone with an opinion, not experience. So what was the solution here? What did I do? So I decided to stop telling them my big ideas. And the same thing you should do too. Stop telling people your big ideas, especially when you know it's a real valid one and can potentially solve a lot of people's problems. I stopped telling people my big ideas and I started showing them my results instead. People cannot discourage results. Stop telling people your big ideas and start showing your results instead. Nobody can discourage results, including parents. Including parents. Right? So, by making that shift, I stopped experiencing, most of my ideas were no longer dying. Now, whenever I get an idea, I'm excited about it. I test. Immediately, I test. I hardly even go and look for who to ask for advice. I test this thing. I'm in a hurry to test. Industry leaders are a product of a series of tests that went right. For goodness sake, how do you become an industry leader? Is it by modeling what works? No. You don't become an industry leader by modeling what works. You test until you find what works. By the time you find what works, people will start modeling you. You will now become what works. There are those who model what works and there are those who find what works. It's not every time you model what works. There are times and seasons. There are times when it's great, it's a great option, it's a great strategy for you to be modeling what works. Yes, it's good. But it gets to a point in your life that you need to you need to prioritize finding what works over modeling. Especially on the table of knowledge and skill. Don't worry, that's what we're even going to be discussing as the second pillar today. Right? We don't have much time, so let me just go straight into the next thing. The next anchor category. I've given you two anchor categories now. I've told you about what they call them, time anchors. I've told you about idea anchors, right? So you will get way more results if you stop telling people your big ideas and start showing your results instead, because people cannot discourage results. The same way, your time, if you're not getting enough time because you're getting distracted by people, you're getting distracted by things, right? If you are that person who is getting distracted, you're not getting enough time, value for your time, you're not productive enough. It's as simple as stop being accessible. Become scarce. Become a scarce commodity. If you are too accessible, nobody is going to pay you for your time. Your time is not valuable if it is too accessible. Nobody will pay you for time that is too accessible. There's a reason why people pay me $500 and above for 1 hour of my time now. It's because I'm not accessible. You can't come to me. You can't even call me. Where would you want to see me to call me? And even if you do call me, why will I pick up the phone? Are you on my calendar? You are not on my calendar. So why are you calling me? And you get on my calendar after you have booked time. You book the time and you pay for it. Because that time that you are using is time I could have been using to make other monies elsewhere. So become scarce and prioritize how you spend the time. Remember what I said yesterday. There are people who spend time and there are people who get value for time. Rich people get value for time. Poor people spend time. They spend it on frivolous things like getting entertainment, Netflix and all those things. They spend all that time. It's not that the rich people don't watch Netflix, no, but they hardly ever do. They only do it when they're at that point where they feel they deserve a little bit of rest. I wish I can turn this thing and show you guys. See, you see, that's my TV. And you see, there's also a PS5 there. There's a PlayStation 5 there. That PlayStation 5, I think there's cobwebs inside because I've not even touched it for over a month. It's not that I don't like playing games. I love playing games. But I love building better. I love growing better. The same thing with Netflix. There's Netflix here. There's Amazon Prime. There's, you name it. All of them. Disney Prime or whatever they call it. They are all there. There's unlimited internet. 5G, not even 4G. Unlimited internet. This TV is Ultra HD 4K. So the viewing experience is not normal. But I hardly ever turn it on. It's not because I hate TV. No. So the point being that if you prioritize things that give you value for your time, naturally you will be growing. Every time your time is ticking, you are growing. Right? So I found out that we had those two categories of anchors. I also found out that we have another category of anchor that I would like to call, well, you can call them emotional anchors, right? Emotional anchors. The people who have a way of bringing you down in one way or the other. They have a way of bringing you down emotionally. There are those people that you call toxic people, right? When you find out that you have people in your circle who abuse you directly or indirectly emotionally, Sometimes it's just because they're trying to get something out of you, right? Excuse me. For somebody who has emotional anchors in their circle, I mean, at some point in my own journey, I had emotional anchors. I did have some emotional anchors in my circle. But what I did in order for me to navigate that water, because it was a troubled water for me. So what I did in order for me to navigate that water was as simple as, I had to communicate. I learned how to communicate. That's what worked for me. It might not be what works for everyone, but that's what worked for me. I learned how to communicate. And so by communicating better, communicating my boundaries to people, communicating the quality of relationships that I want to have, by, remember what we talked about yesterday? I talked about how you manifest more abundance in your relationships. And I talked about some of those expansive energies like love, and how you express gratitude and how you express love in your relationships, how you apply empathy in your relationships to build better relationships. So I started doing more of those things. And what did it do? It helped me to build more healthy relationships. So by becoming a better person, I started building better relationships. Does that make sense? It's not every time that you cut someone off, even though that works as well. Sometimes the person is just too toxic, it's just too far down that you have no choice. At that point, the person doesn't want to grow with you, right? In some cases, the person doesn't want to grow with you. So it's either you cut off the rope or you go down. So if that's the case, then that's what you need to do. You have to cut that rope. You have to cut off that rope, right? So yeah, I did have a lot of those people in my circle, and by God's grace, I've been able to work on that. And then there were also the financial anchors. Those ones came later down the line when small money started entering. Those ones will come. It's normal. I mean, you don't become this you don't stand at the center of the stage and not get a couple of fans in the process. Like there are a lot of people who would they will rally around you just because there is light. There's a spotlight shining on you. Once there's a spotlight shining on you, it attracts a crowd. And so you start getting many people sending you DMs, family, friends, people who have never messaged you in years. They'll send you messages and they want to reconnect, crazy things. But what happens? You should pray to get the spirit of discernment, because you will need the spirit of discernment for you to understand somebody who is truly in need. Pray that you get the spirit of discernment to be able to understand and identify when someone is truly in need. If you have that spirit, you're able to identify, then you will know who to help and who to ignore. Because you can't help everybody. That's the truth. No matter how much money you have, you can't help everybody. Even the richest people on earth can't help everybody. They know. Right? So that's how I deal with financial anchors. Spirit of discernment will help you do that. And then the final category of anchors I found out that I had in my circle then were, I call them, spiritual anchors. Because at the end of the day, remember that life is a spiritual game. Business is a spiritual game. The process of gaining wealth is a spiritual game. It's all a spiritual game, right? They're all played on different, on different levels, but it's all a spiritual game. So we need more propellers in our circle who improve, also push us towards doing things that improve our lives spiritually, right? So you need more spiritual propellers, right? We need more spiritual propellers in our circle. So anybody who takes you down or brings you down spiritually is not somebody you want to have in your circle. I simply just cut such people off. That's it. If my spirit doesn't agree with such a person being around me, I cut them off. It's that simple. Cutting off can mean different things. It could be becoming inaccessible. It could be completely cutting them off, no more you no longer speaking to them and stuff like that, but just basically cutting them off completely, right? So that worked for me, by the way. All these things I'm telling you right now, they all worked for me 100%. I believe if you apply it for yourself in one way or the other, it probably work for you too. And then let's go straight into what we are talking about today, because I need to be out of here in like a few minutes. So, all right. The second pillar, remember yesterday we talked about the first pillar, which was what? Mindset. And today we're talking about the second pillar, which is your skill set and knowledge, of course. Pillar number 2 is skill set and knowledge. So knowledge and skill set, right? This all has to do with capacity. It all has to do with capacity. I struggled in my business for 11 months until I realized that you cannot use what you do not have. You cannot use what you do not have. You will struggle in your business for, I don't want you to struggle for more than today. Till the end of this evening, until you realize that you cannot use what you do not have. If you do not have the capacity to generate a result, in terms of mind, knowledge, skill. There is no magic involved. No amount of strategy or no amount of tactic will magically manufacture the result for you. It doesn't work. You have to build capacity. You want to create content, you have to build capacity, because you cannot give what you do not have at the same time. Content creation is all about giving. Giving people value through your stories, giving people value through useful information, giving them value through your craft, your talent, your skill. It's all about giving. And you cannot give what you do not have. So you have to build your capacity. That's the first thing. Build your capacity. Now, on the table of building capacity, you find out that there are a lot of people who experience, by the way, if you just joined the live session, thank you for joining my marathon live series. Today is day 5, and we are currently on 5 pillars for building a 7-figure online business. If you're enjoying the conversation, you can see what's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, right? Go ahead and share this live. Share it to someone's DM. Share it to your timeline. Share it all over the internet. Share it. Share the joy. Share the love. Just make sure you get your friends to join the conversation. All right. So as I was saying, on the table of learning, many people have learned to a point where they have gotten stuck. Many people, they buy courses, they buy trainings, they buy ebooks, they watch YouTube videos, and they have watched it to the point where it has reached here, and they don't even know what to do again. Some of us here who, I saw someone asking about affiliate marketing. Some of us here who have bought trainings, you've bought access to coaching, you've bought trainings, you've bought access to coaching, you name it. But it just seems like you are accumulating all of these things, and it's just getting here, and you can't use it to do anything. How many of us are in that same category? Type stuck in the comment section. Be honest, because you will not be stuck when you leave here. I can guarantee you of that. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you don't acknowledge where you are, then you can't get to where you're going to. It means you're in denial, so you can't be in denial and expect to get to where you're going to. So let me know in the comment section. Type stuck. If you feel like you've gotten so much information, you're in that place where you have information overload. How many of us are there? You have information overload. There's so much in your brain. You know so much, but you have so little results. You know so much already. You have been learning. You've been attending Twitter spaces. You've been joining my live every day, but still no results. It feels like you're stuck. Type it in the comments. Type stuck. Type stuck. I'm not talking about the stock market, though. I'm talking about being stuck in one place part-time for a long period of time. Type the word stuck in the comments. I know there are many people on this table. Type the word stuck. Now, I need you to understand something. The purpose of learning is not to know. The purpose of learning is not to know. It is to do. The purpose of learning is not to know, it is to do. Information is no longer power, it is potential power. Information is potential power to do. It is doing that is the power to get results. Every piece of information that you get and don't use is absolutely useless. It stays in potential. It's just floating. It's like, it stays in potential land. It adds to your central bank of potential. Every piece of information, I'm telling you, every single one, no matter how deep, no matter how heavy, no matter how resonating, no matter how fantastic that you get, it's just an addition to your central bank of potential if you don't do anything with it. So if you are currently stuck, maybe you just needed to hear that the essence of learning is not to know, but it is to do. Don't consume information. Don't only consume information. There was someone who asked me this question on Twitter Space. That's why I'm bringing it up here. Someone he said, Coach, I have been doing so many things. I have been working he said, I have been learning. I joined your ZTHA and I went through the training. I consumed the entire thing. I've been doing everything. He said, I've been learning everything and all of that. He said he has bought other courses, he has bought other people's trainings, and he has learned everything inside of it. And now he just feels like he knows too much. He doesn't even know where to start implementing. He doesn't even know what to do. He doesn't even know which steps to take. I smiled and I told him the exact same thing I just told you. I said the essence of learning is not to know. The essence of learning is not to know, it is to do. Do you know, whenever I buy a book, let me give you guys something very powerful. Whenever I buy a book, this is a book I came across very recently. The name is Socionomics by Eric Qualman. So I study a lot. And whenever I buy a book, I don't buy books just because I like to read. I do like to read. But I read in a way that is quite different from how other people read. When I read, I hunt. I am in a hunt for a specific piece of information that can move me from point A to point B as at that point in my own journey. I don't read just because I like to read. I don't buy a course just because I like courses. I don't go through a course just for the sake of going through the course. No. I hardly even finish my courses. I hardly finish any book. The book that has had the greatest impact on my life since birth, I didn't finish up to chapter 3. It was at a point in my life where I was emotionally unstable. I couldn't get results. I was just stuck. Like some people. I was stuck. And so at that point in my journey, I felt like the only way I can get forward from here, the only way I can move forward from here is if I find someone who is there already that can help me get there. And so I came across the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And I went into that book with the mind of a hunter. If you guys see the way I went in that book, if you had been around me that period, you'd have thought I was drunk or I was crazy or something. I went in that book with the mind of a hunter. I was hunting for a specific answer to the problem I had, to the question I had at that point in time. How do I master my emotion and become a master of myself? That was the answer I was looking for. And the moment I found it, I closed the book. I closed the book and I went crazy with implementing what I had discovered. There are some people who open a book and you read 2 chapters and you get more results than the people who have read the book 10 times. Because some people read to know while other people read to do. Some people study to know while other people study to do. The purpose of learning is not to know, it is to do. Don't consume information, use information. If you get a piece of information, there's hardly any course I buy. Once I buy a course, I learn at my pace and implement as I go. Write those 2 things down. Learn at your pace, implement as you go. As I was learning, I was implementing. As I am learning, I am implementing. I'm getting results on the spot. Execution. Money loves speed. Success loves speed. If you must do it quickly. Don't do it when you're done with the course. If you understand, unless you don't understand it. If it is something you can implement now, why not do it now? Why do it when you're done? I mean, why? Most courses that are released today in the online space, they're all implement as you go. That's the beauty of most of the courses today. They are implement as you go. But you rather go and consume. Some people will consume it 3 times. They say they want to fully understand it. They want to digest it. The thing can give you carbohydrate because courses gives carbohydrate or vitamins. Which of them do they give you? Is it carbohydrate or vitamins or protein? You want to digest it. Oh God. Me, that I will go to the same course and once I'm done with the first module, I've started getting results. You are busy digesting it. You are digesting. Don't worry. Continue. So, essence of what I'm saying is, don't consume information, use it. Learn to use information, don't consume. Don't be a consumer. It is because we consume, that's why we get overwhelmed. Consumers get overwhelmed. Users get results. They get results. When I was just starting out, I was focusing too much. Like I was doing a lot of I was going through shortcuts. I was shortcutting the process, trying to get shortcuts, buying tactics, buying strategies. I was just really looking for a shortcut. Took me more than 11 months to discover that there were no shortcuts. But then later down the line, I discovered there is a shortcut. How many of you know that there is a shortcut to success? How many of you know that there is a shortcut to success? I will explain this thing right now. There is only one. There are many. People will tell you their own is a shortcut. The single fattest way for you to do X, Y, Z. That one is just copywriting. In reality, there is only one. There's one shortcut. Tested and proven. Tried and proven. Tested and trusted. One shortcut. And what is the shortcut? Write it in capital letters. Write it in capital letters. In the comment section, write it in capital letters. PROCESS. process. The process is the shortcut, and the shortcut is the process. Is that what you're expecting to hear? No. I will explain what I mean. Do you know that in 2023, the learning curve is no longer as long as it used to be? I started in this online space in 2019, and I can tell you with my full chest that the learning curve is no longer as long as it used to be. Do you know one thing that my mentor told me very recently when we were having a conversation? He said, Kenny, you guys don't know what you guys have. You have such a huge unfair advantage. He said what it took him 15 years to achieve is what I have done in 3. Are you guys listening? He said what it took him 15 years to achieve is what has taken me 3 years to achieve. What does that mean for you who is just starting out? It means that the learning curve is no longer as long as it used to be. So when I see people who mentally associate pain to anything that has to do with learning, it means that you are allergic to shortcuts. Your brain has tricked you into thinking that the shiny thing is the shortcut, whereas it's the curve that is the shortcut. The learning curve. The learning curve is no longer as long as it used to be. It is shorter than ever, I'm telling you. Something like ChatGPT, for example, has just come out of nowhere and boom, there is nothing you can think of unless it's not something that the brain can achieve. If it's something that the brain can think of, then ChatGPT can think of it faster, 100 times faster than the human brain. Does that increase the length of the learning curve, or does that shorten it for you? When I wanted to build out my coaching program, my private coaching program, I wanted to start getting clients in Dubai. What did I do? I went to ChatGPT. I paid for the premium, $20 a month. How much is that? I paid $20 a month, and I entered into the tool, and I built out my entire coaching program with the tool in less than 2 hours. I had built out the structure. I had built out everything, the documents for sending to my coaching clients, for everything. By the time I had finished, it felt like I didn't even know anything about coaching programs because the guy was just blowing my mind left, right, and center. It did everything for me. The learning curve has reduced. It has almost become micro. If only you can see it. If only you can see it, then you will no longer mentally associate pain to anything that has to do with learning. The curve is no longer as long as it used to be. I'm telling you. Take it from somebody who is addicted to learning. The shortcut is the process, and the process is the shortcut. If you are looking for a shortcut, enter into the process. Start learning. Start learning. But in the process of learning, try not to compete with people. Try not to compete with people. Instead, you should be collaborating with them. Collaboration is the new competition. If you find anybody who is doing well right now, you find out that they are, in one way or the other, they're collaborating with people. That's one reason why I love Dubai so much. The people in Dubai is full of experts. It's more than 75% experts. You know what expert is? That's EXPAT. That's people from other countries. People in Dubai just want to help each other out. Like, I don't know how or why that is, but I've never seen anywhere in the world where people just want to help each other. It's crazy. You literally just meet someone on the internet today, maybe on Twitter or something, and the person wants to have coffee with you tomorrow. And before you know it, you guys are collaborating on different big projects. It's crazy. I've never seen it before. Me, I'm from Niger, so yeah, I know. Niger way, man, they do ownership. They want to own a CEO mentality. It's not normal. Niger man wants to compete every single step of the way. He wants to own. Don't compete when you should be collaborating. Don't compete with people you should be collaborating with. Don't compete with people you should be collaborating with. Build a relationship with them and you will become collaborators. If you must compete, let it be with your potential. You wake up in the morning and you make a conscious decision to yourself that today I'm going to be better than who I was yesterday. That's the only thing you should be competing with. You know, right from the very beginning, right? I never paid attention to who was doing well in my niche. See, I congratulate them. If you are doing well, you celebrate something, I will celebrate with you. Because I believe that that's the way to attract what you want, right? You can't attract something that you attack. So I believe in celebrating other people's wins. But I am not celebrating it as though I want the one you have. No, I have my own. I have my own. I have my own. And I am assured of the prize because I am growing forward every single day. I'm becoming better at what I do every single day. It's only a matter of time. The person who plays the game to keep playing will outlast the one who is playing to win. You are not trying to compete with anyone. You are not trying to become the best of the best so that they will give you some kind of award. What happens when you now win? Have you ever thought about it? What happens when you now win the prize? What happens when you now make that 1 million? Now your 1 million go. What happens when you now win it? Mentally, the goal to continue, the zeal to continue just disappears, and then you feel like there's nothing more again. You just become bored. There was a tweet I made, I think it was 2 days ago. Let me go hunt for this tweet. It will be so powerful for someone here right now. The tweet I made was so profound, and everyone who read that tweet was sending me some kind of feedback. And so I want to read that tweet out for you guys, because there's someone here who needs to hear it. The tweet says, Mr. A finds something that works. He gets excited. He tells everyone about the results. The excitement fades. He gets bored and starts doing something else. Whereas Mr. B finds what works. He finds what works. He puts it on rinse and repeat, and he gets paid consistently. Most people are like Mr. A, who finds what works, gets excited, tells everybody about the results, hypes the result. Excitement then fades. He gets bored. He moves to something else. And so you now find that we have too many people who are doing things, but they never do it for long enough. They never do it for long enough to build momentum. They never do it for long enough to trigger exponential growth. I'm in that point in my own journey now where I am meeting people in my life that I never dreamt I would have met. Never dreamt. Somebody had pinched me 3 years ago and said, you meet this kind of person, and I've slapped the person and said, why are you trying to why are you trying to scam me or something like that? I've had two podcast interviews in the last 30 days. I've had 2 podcast interviews, and I'm about to have another one with someone who has built more than 4 different businesses to multiple millions of dollars. Don't compete, collaborate. If you must compete, compete with your potential. Make a conscious decision that you're going to become better at what you do every single day, no matter what. Because that's how you breed mastery. The people who go deep and go wide will outlast the ones who play at the surface. The ones who stay at the surface, they're looking at surface level expectations. They're trying to pay their bills. They're trying to survive. They're trying to make it now. They're trying to get rich quick. They're trying to make the money quickly. They want to get the results within a space of 1 month. They're the ones who ask you, how soon will I start seeing results? When I hear those once I hear that question, I just know you are not even a builder. A builder will never ask you that question. How soon will I start seeing results? Okay. You're buying a course. It's a course you're buying. And you start asking me those kind of questions. I will answer you. It's not that I will not answer you, but it tells me something about you. It tells me that you're not an investor, you're not a builder. For somebody who builds, he understands that he has to go through a curve. So like when you're going through a curve, you're going to go through different ups and downs. But it is part of the process. Remember what I said? That's the shortcut. It is all part of the process. It is all part of the process. So go for depth. If you must learn anything, go for depth. The people who get good at what they do outlive the people who are only trying to get good results. I'm telling you this thing because I've tried both sides and I've seen it. I've tried both sides. I tried the first side for 11 months. I was trying to get good results. It didn't get me good results. It got me only $24 in 11 months. And then I switched over to the other side. I got good at what I do. Get good at what you do. The people who get good at what they do will outlive the people who are just trying to get good results. And good becomes great. Great becomes exceptional. Once you become a master, you become the ultimate magnet for money. Everybody will be looking for you. Everybody will be looking for you. Everybody wants to pay you to do something. Everybody wants to pay you to give them advice. Everybody wants to pay for your courses. Everybody wants to pay you for your time. Everybody just wants to be around you because you exude so much grace and so much value. That's what happens when you breed mastery. But you don't get there when you're chasing surface level expectations. So you need to go deep and go wide. While everybody is at the surface and complaining that the market is saturated, tune out the noise. Go deep and go wide. Play the game to keep playing the game. Don't play to win. Excuse me. So finally, still on the second pillar. We talked about the first pillar yesterday. This first pillar was basically your mindset, right? We talked about mindset. So today we're talking about knowledge and skill set and mastery. It's just three things: knowledge, skill, mastery. Every niche, no matter the niche you are, every niche has a requisite number of skills that you need in order for you to become good at your craft. Every niche, no matter the niche. If you are in content creation niche, if that's your niche, then you need certain skills. You need to have the ability to ideate. You know what ideation means? Come up with good ideas for content. It's a skill. Ideation is a skill. How many of you know that? Ideation is a skill. Creating is a skill. Editing is a skill. Publishing is a skill, because if you know how to publish, then you know how to repurpose and publish to other platforms. So you learn the secrets for distribution. They are all skills. If you're an affiliate marketer, then you need copywriting as a skill. Learn how to communicate with sales messages that compels people to take an action that you want them to take. Right? Every niche has a relevant set of skills that will help you to stand out in the niche. If you want to get results, you cannot use what you do not have. If you want to create content, you cannot give what you do not have. You have to build capacity. And the good news, like I said, is that the learning curve is not as long as it used to be. It is not as long as it used to be, right? Thank you guys for joining. How many of us here are joining from Facebook? Type Facebook. If you're joining from LinkedIn, type LinkedIn. If you're joining from YouTube, type the platform you're joining on. I know we have people from all over the world, from different social platforms right now, right? So, as I was saying, you definitely want to make sure that you're building towards the right direction and you're going deep and you're going wide at the same time. That is how you get good at what you do. There's a reason why I can wake up in the morning and I know exactly what I need to do to build out a campaign and launch it, and it makes me thousands of dollars like this. Somebody will say it was juju. There was a day when I had one of my volunteers in my house, no need to mention his name, but I had one of my volunteers in my house and I ran an offer that day. I had him, like, he was managing the campaign for me. So when he was seeing the alerts dropping, the moment I opened the gates for the offer to drop, like the offer to start, when he was seeing the alerts dropping, people were sending me 20,000. Pa, 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 pa. The alerts were dropping. Pa, 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 pa. There was a point the thing he dropped and he saw 3.2 million in my phone in less than 2 hours. You know what he said that day? He started saying, which juju did I give these people? He said, which juju did you give these people that they are just sending all this money? Like, Jesus. He said, Jesus, you've never seen this kind of money at the same time before. He said, he has never seen this kind of money come in at this kind of time, this kind of rates before. I said, be there now. Build your capacity first. That's the thing. On every side, like, build your capacity. You can't use what you don't have. At the same time, you can't give what you don't have. There's a reason why people will pay you a certain amount of money. If you want to be able to charge somebody $1,000 with your full chest and not shake and not fear that you will not be able to deliver, you have to build your capacity to that level. Right? You have to build your capacity to that level. Excuse me. Hey, I can see my people are joining me on Instagram. Thank you for joining. Hello, my people. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right. So we're still on the topic, right? I'll soon be jumping out of here, but I'm just going to leave you guys with an action plan, right? I'm going to leave you here with an action plan. But before I do that, I saw someone ask a question here. Let me quickly answer that question about content creation. It says, is content creation a skill that an affiliate marketer needs? Of course. Yeah, you need to know how to communicate to people in a way that gives them value, right? What I am doing here right now, this is content creation. I am recording this. When I'm done, I'm going to download the recording and add it to my archive. It becomes part of my content. I'm going to send the recording to my team, and my team is going to repurpose that content and create short form videos out of it. They will also transcribe the content because I've paid for Otter.ai, and that becomes text-based content. So I'm creating the content once, and it's going to be redistributed, and it will get me so much more rich. Thousands of other people will see it in different formats. So it's all content. Learn how to create. Learn how to communicate, right? Remember when we were talking about the different levels of implementation, and I told you that if you have the ability to imagine and you have the ability to communicate, the amount of money you can make is limitless. It's different from the person who is looking for information to implement. The person who is looking for information to implement is limited in the sense that they have only enough time and energy. That's how you get results with info, right? You implement it using your time and your energy. And there's so little you can do with that, your time and your energy. It gets to a point you burn out because you have limited energy. You have limited time. Time is scarce. But if your focus is how can I come up with strategy? How can I think? And by the way, you can't think if you have no capacity to think. That's why you need knowledge and skill. Because knowledge and skill allows you to wake up in the morning and you can think on your feet. You can think, you can imagine, you can communicate that imagination in a way that is valuable to people, and they will buy. The WhatsApp Audience Gold Secrets course was bought by more than 2,200 people, and it had not been created yet. From over 6 countries. They paid for a training that had not been created yet because the imagination came to meet communication. And that turned into income. If I had gotten in front of more people with that offer, more people would have bought it. If 2,200 people bought it in 10 days, obviously more people would have bought it if I put it in front of more people. Right? So learn how to communicate. Learn how to imagine. Build a capacity to imagine. Build a capacity to think. Right? Modeling what works is good, but also learn how to find what works. Because imagination plus communication will help you find what works. Right? All right. So how do you develop reading capacity? By reading now. Practice reading now. There's no other way. Start reading. Start practicing it more. Prioritize reading, bro. There's no other way. Once upon a time, I used to hate books. I hated reading. I hate books right from day one. But you can't hate what can help you grow. It's like you taking a gun and putting it to your forehead and shooting yourself. It doesn't work. So that's what I did, and it helped me. So quickly, let me give you guys the action plan before we jump out of here. So the action plan is very simple. Step 1 is write a list of all the relevant skills that you have in your niche. You can use ChatGPT if you don't know it. Go to ChatGPT and use that tool for goodness sake. Many people have ChatGPT but have never logged in. They don't even know how it works. You've never touched it in your life. Well, if you don't know how it works, you can go to YouTube and go and find out how to use it. And then you go to ChatGPT and find out how many skills or how many relevant skills in your niche should you be focused on. And then decide which of them is the topmost priority. What is the most important skill that you must have in your niche in order for you to generate results on demand? And then go big on learning it. Go big on learning it for 6 months and see how life will become. That's step 1. That's action plan number 1. Action plan number 2 is write a list of all your cash flow streams. What are the things you're currently doing to generate money? What are the things you're currently doing to generate income? Remember that we have only one bottle of time, energy, and resources. And if you are channeling it into different cups, I don't have any cup here to use as an example, but if you are channeling it into different cups, your ability to be productive per cup will be reduced. And so you are incapable of triggering momentum and exponential growth. You can generate some small sales, but I tell you this, try this thing. If you try it and it doesn't work, then come and meet me. I'll give you money. I'll give you big money. But try this thing. Channel all your time, all your energy, all your resources into one thing. One thing for 6 months. Every day you wake up, your goal is to get good at that thing, to do something that helps you get better at that same thing. You are building that one thing for 6 months. Try it. Try it. I was building several things for 11 months. It made me $24. I was building one thing for 3 months. It made me 7 figures. Made me 7 figures. After the 3 months, 35 days later, I had made my second 7 figures. I had made my second million. 33 days after that, I had made my third million. And after that, I've just been counting weeks, no longer months. I was now counting weeks to the next million. I'm now counting weeks to the next million. Now we're talking about minutes. No more days, no more hours, minutes. So, instead of doing too many things, find that one thing that you know your mind resonates with and build it first. I don't say abandon everything else. I didn't abandon everything else. Build it first. Build it to a point where you can automate the process of getting results from it. Then go and build the second one. Serial entrepreneurs are not called serial entrepreneurs because they are building many things at the same time. Even a serial killer kills one person at a time. So, I hope you guys are getting the message. If you're getting it, type fire emoji in the comment section. So that's the second action plan. Write a list of all your cash flow streams, choose one, and go crazy with it for the next 6 months. Let me know how it goes for you. Give me the feedback. That's all I want. Don't pay me anything for this, but just let me know if it works for you. That's the payment you can give me. Just come and tell me, I tried this thing you said, and it worked. Okbari. Then the final one, sharp, so that we can get out of here. Because I'm supposed to be on the Twitter space. I'm actually on the Twitter space right now. You will not believe it. Okay, so final one, write a list of all the people in your circle. Remember what I said about anchors and propellers. So write out a list of all the people in your circle, the people who have a greater impact on the decisions you make and how life goes forward for you, right? Write a list of all of them and sort them out into propellers and anchors. Remember, I listed out the different categories for you. I talked about idea anchors. What you want to do about idea anchors is stop telling them your big ideas, show them your results instead, because they can't discourage your results. Then I talked about time anchors. Write down the time anchors that you have, the people who have the negative impact on how you spend your time or invest your time or get value for your time. Write them down in a list. And then decide that you are going to consciously become inaccessible to them. I'm telling you, it will help your life. Oh my God. Become inaccessible to those people. If people don't tell you thanks for your time from time to time, then you are too accessible. So stop being accessible. The value of your time will automatically just skyrocket. Before you know, people start paying for the time. Because then you are now investing all that time that you get back. Let me tell you what I did. By becoming inaccessible to those time anchors, I started reinvesting that time in myself. I started reinvesting the time in my business. I was reinvesting it in myself by learning all the relevant skills, remember? I reinvested in my business by focusing on implementing the skills I needed to implement in the business. And then in other people, I invested in other people by helping them. That's also what I'm still doing right here, right now. So write a list of all the people in your circle and deal with all the anchors, and you're good to go. That's it. We are done. We are done for today. So before you guys go, I want to give you something. All right. What's the time? The time is in Nigeria is after 10. Oh wow. Okay, so I have something that is going to be launching in the next 2 hours. No, not in the next 2 hours. It's going to be launching by 9 p.m. tomorrow, right? I have something that's going to be launching by 9 p.m. tomorrow. How many of us here are currently consciously building on Twitter? You're building an audience on Twitter. Can you type Twitter in the comment section? Type Twitter. I just want to be sure. If we have enough people, then I'll give it to you. But if not, let's just share grace and look forward to tomorrow's session. So let me know in the comments. How many of us are intentionally trying to grow on Twitter? Because I, for example, I went from less than 500 followers on Twitter in 2021. By the end of 2021, I was at 50,000 followers on Twitter. There was something I did to get to that number. That's what I'm asking. How many of us here are consciously trying to grow on Twitter? Type it in comments. Type Twitter. I have one person. Do we have any other person? Going. Okay, we have 2 people. If we can get 5 people, then I'll give this to you guys. Do we have any other person? Any other? Okay, so nobody else? All right. So in that case, I'm just going to share grace, and I'm going to tell you guys, by the way, the guys who said they want to grow on Twitter, you guys can send me a DM or something. I'll give you a link. There's a course I'm launching tomorrow. Right now, it's available on pre-order. It's just 4,500. You can send me a DM. I'll send you a link so you can get access to it before it launches. When it launches, it'll be twice the price, so I don't want you to have to pay twice the price. So you can send me a DM with the word Twitter. Just send me a DM with the word, whatever platform you are on, send me a DM with the word Twitter so I can send you a link. You can pre-order the course so you don't have to pay double. All right. Thank you guys for coming today. I will be seeing you tomorrow. This is day 2. This is just day 2 of a 5-day series. Tomorrow we're going again. We're going to dive in deep, right? We're going crazy with it. So make sure you don't miss tomorrow's session. I will not tell you the time. So if you want to join tomorrow's session, turn on live notifications on my page. That's the only way you're going to know. Many people here have been coming every single day since I started this thing. I don't know how. Maybe you guys turned on post notification or live notification. But anyways, you guys are the real MVP. If you've been coming every day since day 1, you're the real MVP. Today is day 5 out of this pop-up live series that I've been doing. So thank you for coming from day 1. How can you get the knowledge that I've passed across and created from day 1? Because or within the short few minutes. Oh wow, your notepad is full in the short few minutes you've been here. Thank you for coming. That's very interesting. Well, I'm not releasing the recording to the general public. It's for my own personal consumption. So, well, if you want to be a part of like what we are doing here, you can come every day. Just turn on live notifications on my page so you don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow, I won't tell you the time, but it's going to be in the evening. That's all I can tell you. Just make sure that you're here tomorrow, and we're going to have fun. Tomorrow's own will be early evening. It will not be late evening because I have engagements late evening tomorrow, and I also have have late evening engagements next tomorrow. So tomorrow's own and next tomorrow's own will be early evening, not late evening. So I'm just giving you that as an expo. Okay, guys, thank you guys for coming. We will see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, my name is Kenny. You can follow me if you haven't followed me. Just make sure you follow and turn on live notifications. I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.